Hello, my friends. Welcome. I am so glad that you're here. I am going to show you, I'm working on a bigger project. It has to do with the land and the deeds. And so I was going to do a quick just show you guys who Tom Keller is. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. There are no facts here. I'm literally a chick with a tarot deck and Google. Except today we are going to go through some interesting things. So thank you for being here. If you need me, let me know. I'm gonna nickname him something else. I just haven't figured out what the name is yet. The FBI trained Canton cop that you've never heard of, but you probably should. His name is Fat Tom. That's a nickname, and that's not derogatory or defamatory. You're gross. And Fat Tom and his wife Carrie, he comes from a very long line of Canton police officers, his grandpa, his dad, and himself. This is a picture that Turtle Boy found of him recently. And here's his grandfather at Canton High School. And these are all thanks to Turtle Boy. Okay, here's his dad, a nice little tribute to his dad. Here is Fat Tom's family. And someone asked me what a nepo-baby was. I looked it up. Nepotism refers to giving advantages or positions to relatives in various professions. Happens all the time, but that's what a nepo-baby is. So I was gathering the information for a project that has to do with the Masonic triangle that is at 34 Fairview. I was speaking to one of my friends who happens to be 33 degree, and that's why not all Masons are bad. But I asked him about this, and what he was saying was that it's not the structures that make up the triangle, it's the land itself. So I didn't know that. We have 34 Fairview from Google Earth, and we have 31 Fairview. And so I wanted to know who these people were, as you do. Both 31 and 34 are blurred on Google. If you don't have anything to hide, I don't know why. I found it on the Canton website, like the assessor's website. Here's 31 Fairview. Here is the land information. I, one time, and I don't know where the video is, or I can't remember it, asked, why would Jennifer McCabe, and Brian Albert be on a deed for a house together? Like, and that house was 1473 Washington Street. As I was looking into Fat Tom, I started reading a story. The story is in the Canton Citizen. It was published on September 27th of 2012. And I will save you from reading the whole thing. But I would like to, this is the article right here. I would like to just show you something interesting that Fat Tom said. And I'm going to read a little bit that, I guess I could call him Junior. We have so many juniors. We'll call him Fat Tom. Okay. Fat Tom comes from a long line of police officers. His paternal grandfather, Dan, was a former police chief who served Canton PD for 38 years. His daddy retired after serving 34 years at Canton PD, and Junior had been with the department for 19 years by the time this article was written. One incident he does remember, this background of the story is this reporter is interviewing police officers and firefighters. I forgot to hit record on one of these. And he's asking them, how do you get through the day when something is very traumatizing? One incident he does remember influencing his father was the 1986 murder of a Canton High School freshman, Sean Ouellette. His father remembers that his father lost his appetite for days, although he never spoke about his job in front of the family. He did turn to me when I was older and knew I was entering the police department, and he said, "You will see things that you'll never forget." He was right. While we live in a great community and we don't have the high crime of other communities, you still see things you might not expect. The breaks, the domestics, many sad things. I was lucky my rookie year. I had Helena and Kenny and a few other notable people. One incident, this was red flags for me. I almost, if it wasn't so late, I would have probably jumped on. One incident, Fat Tom, if you're watching, I don't know what to tell you. You earned your nickname. One incident Fat Tom will remember for the rest of his life occurred some 16 years ago on a Saturday night around midnight on Washington Street. Ironically, in a private residence next to the property that later became the police station. I immediately was like, this has to be the infamous Albert House. During a party at the residence, an altercation erupted and nine people were stabbed, including one who's so someone was murdered, fatally wounded, and two were struck by a car. He worked through the night on that case and didn't get home until 3 p.m. the next night or the next day. It still sticks with me. This was very traumatizing for Fat Tom. And this is the part. I still think about it. I can't forget the smells of that night. Sometimes it's little things that happen during the day that bring those memories back. I'm not downplaying that this was probably very traumatic for Fat Tom. I have zero respect for him, or if you're watching, I don't like you. I have zero respect for you. You remind me of the roommate that lived in Idaho. So my curiosity got the best of me, and I ran a report. Everyone can do this. There's a monthly subscription fee for us and the research crew. It's worth it. And they have, for us, we've noticed that Ben Verified is the best one. I had questions. Is the new Canton Police Department is right here, and 1473 Washington Street is right across from where they put the new police station. Interesting. I made a timeline so that I didn't bore you guys while I looked for it. In 1996, Matthew McLaren was killed at the property of 1473. Keller, Fat Tom, just told us all about it. It was the most traumatizing night of this poor guy's life. Multiple stabbings occurred. There were no arrests. The house is described as recently rented. Jennifer McCabe. I can tell that I'll help me write this. Sometimes she talks like me. It's kind of funny. Jenny is tied to this address from 1996, the same year, through 2017. In 1998, on May 1st, Brian Albert purchased 1473. My red flags are dinging. You know what this tells me? Well, it's not the first time he's had a dead body at his house. And we know that, except right now, one of his little cronies accidentally just outed him, well, back in 2013, and straight up told on him. There is a man who's in prison, and hopefully I have the police report, I'm sorry, the newspaper article, who says they got the wrong person, that the system's rigged, that it wasn't them. Who could it be? Someone that we know that fights dirty, State Street, Brian. They had to get like special security guards just because of Brian Albert. And I'm curious. I think it's highly coincidental, and it's not I don't think this is a coincidence. There are articles of someone who lives in the area, who's a neighbor, who says this is like a family. We don't have parties. We go to work, we raise our children. But Brian Albert, it sounds to me, this is an assumption, that he was there that night because Harold Weeks, is that his name? Yeah, Harold Weeks, that's Jenny and Nicole's daddy, owned it. And so Jenny's name was tied to the address when this happened. I don't know what the investigation was like. If it was anything like John O'Keefe's, there was no investigation. On May 1st, Brian Albert purchased it from Harold Weeks for $200,000. On the same day, he received a $96,000 loan from the Bank of Canton and a $60,000 loan from Glenn Grabowski. And Al flagged this for me as suspicious. The record shows a zero transfer in value in some of the filings. This is becoming very quickly tied to our ritual sites. I'd like to go back into this party. So, thanks to Fat Tom, we know that the most traumatizing night of his life to date, this was in 2013, was a house party at a home the Weeks owned. Harold Weeks' name was on it. In some of these articles, it will tell us that some young kids had just moved in and it was way out of realm. There's also a Brian McLaughlin. I thought it was Lucky, but it's not Lucky, who was stabbed at this location. Or not this, perhaps not this one. I don't want to misspeak because there's a few articles, and here we'll start with this one. Canton House Party. This is on September 16th. I paid to have a subscription for 1 month to the South Coast Today because it was blocking me, so I couldn't show it to you guys. On September 16th of 1996, the Associated Press reported that a 22-year-old Quincy man died of stab wounds, and 9 other people were injured early yesterday morning when a fight broke out at a house party in a usually quiet residential neighborhood. Police were called to the house on Washington Street at 1:06 a.m., said the Norfolk County District Attorney spokesman Nina. Thanks, Nina Flaherty. An argument began. A fight started and a knife was pulled, she said, but details were sketchy and no arrests were immediately made. Matthew McLarnon was killed. I did find a grave site for him, but I couldn't find any pictures of him. 8 other people, all between the ages of 19 and 21, suffered stab wounds, and another was hit by a car during the brawl. Local police and state detectives interviewed witnesses at the Canton police station yesterday, and investigators obtained warrants to search 2 cars, not the house. Right now, there's no mention of a warrant at the house. Why? Janet L. Pratt, a real estate agent whose home and office is near the house where the fight started, said that the house where the party was held had been recently rented to younger people. The area where the fight occurred is a very nice single-family neighborhood, and usually a very quiet neighborhood. We don't usually have this type of thing happening, Ms. Pratt said. Violence also struck yesterday when something happened in Boston. That's concerning. Okay, so right off the rip, we have, thanks to Turtle Boy, we have pictures of all of these yearbooks. So he got access to a Canton High School yearbook, and it is unbelievable. What we do know, just from this one article, and from Fat Tom's own statement,
This was the most traumatizing night of his entire life. He'd been a police officer for 3 years, and they got the police, local police and state, got a warrant for 2 cars at the party, but not the house itself. They don't mention who owns the house. That's okay. First article. Next one. We have is deaths are all that connect 3 recent parties, police say. This is October 28th of 96. Police, and this is for the staff, so it's not for Associated Press. Police continued yesterday to search for the suspects in a fatal stabbing at a weekend Halloween party, at least the third Massachusetts party to turn deadly in the last month. As in the other 2 cases, a fight broke out after a group of people crashed the party. Jason Linsky of Foxboro died from stab wounds to the back and chest, and at least 4 other guests were injured. 2 weeks before, the host of a weekend party in Fall River, was stabbed to death. The guy who owned the house, was stabbed to death by 2 party crashers in a brawl at a party in Canton last month. One man left 1 man dead and 9 people injured. I don't think 2 or even 3 of these kinds of incidents necessarily make a trend, said John Burtwell, the assistant district attorney in Norfolk County, where both of the Canton and the Norfolk fatal brawls occurred. Still, he added, you obviously want to make certain that you're aware of the people attending your party. They are so dumb. They literally just reported in the paragraph before, they crashed the party by 2 party crashers and a brawl. He didn't invite them over. Saturday's Halloween costume party was held by newlyweds Brian and Bonnie. Brian and Bonnie McLaughlin. I thought this was Brian, like our Lucky, but I don't think it is. It's not. His last name isn't McLaughlin. So on Saturday night, there was a Halloween party held by newlyweds Brian and Bonnie that was crashed by a group of teenagers. They crashed the party. They were not invited. So the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office is business as usual. The party crashers were asked to leave, according to the investigators. They later returned with friends and began attacking the guests. Police continued interviewing partygoers for the second straight day in an attempt to piece things together. They declined to comment on reports that the incident was racial or skinheads were among the uninvited visitors. It was the first murder in rural Norfolk in this county for 10 years. Brian McLaughlin, 24, was in serious condition at Boston Medical Center, recovering from stab wounds to the back and the chest. Michael Powers of Foxboro was in fair condition at Mass Gen, and with stab wounds. So the host got stabbed. 2 Mansfield men, 20-year-old Richard Shumsky and 19-year-old Carmen, were treated for wounds and released from area hospitals. In New Bedford recently, a Fairhaven man was stabbed 3 times after a party raged out of control. An estimated 150 people attended the party that charged admission and had 2 kegs. Joseph Westgate was stabbed on Friday, October 18th, after a fight broke out at a party in the woods. Oh, that's what we used to do. On Whitlow Street, behind their New Bedford High School. After spending several days in the hospital, Mr. Westgate was sent home. 5 days after the stabbing, Jason Wallington of Hathaway Boulevard turned himself into the police. He's been arraigned on charges of assault with intent to murder and assault on battery with a dangerous weapon. On October 19th, Daniel DaCosta
was fatally stabbed by two uninvited guests at a party he was hosting in Fall River. Mr. DoCosta had asked the men to leave, and they confronted him when he followed them outside. Mario Lido of Fall River and Jason Batasta of Portsmouth, Rhode Island were charged in the killing. September 15th, Matthew McLarnon of Quincy died of stab wounds when a party on a quiet street in Canton turned into what police would later term a riot. Groups of men in their early 20s from Quincy and Boston, and from Southie section allegedly crashed the party given by four women who had recently moved into the neighborhood. Who were the recent four women? Coincidentally, Harold Weeks owns it. I wonder if this is an Albert, Nicole Albert or Jenny. 9 people were hurt at that party, 8 of them stabbed, and 1 was hit by a car. No arrests have been made in that case. This is next level, and my computer's frozen, of course. This is next level. My computer is totally frozen. Oh, there we go. Okay, so what do you guys think about this? I have way more questions. I didn't read these really closely. I just read the headlines. This is interesting. 4 women had just recently moved into the neighborhood. 9 people were hurt, and 8 of them stabbed. 1 was hit by a car. No arrests have been made in that case. Authorities, not the district attorney, said the fact that 3 party crashings ended in killings was the coincidence, you think? On first inspection, there's obvious similarities, but on closer examination, each one is different depending on the circumstances, Mr. Burtwell said. Certainly, it's not unusual for there to be a fight at parties. I've never been to a party with a fight. I've been to bars with fights. But to me, it is unusual, especially a quiet house party with 4 girls. There appear to be these aren't random acts of violence, no matter where you go. Whether it's at you've been stabbed at a supermarket or at a party. Whether you're at the supermarket or a party. I completely disagree with the district attorney, per usual. And now we have a man charged. This man, I'm guessing, I don't know if it's him. There is a man who's been charged, and there are articles I will find of him saying that the system is rigged. This is not what happened. We should read his stories. So on October 31st, we got to put a bow on this. We got to charge someone. Man charged in a fight at a party. Franklin man was charged yesterday with taking part in a brawl. It's like a riot at Norfolk. Someone showed me how to pronounce that word at a Halloween party that resulted in a fatal stabbing of a guest. Also on Thursday, the police identified and launched a manhunt. Calling the big dogs for the alleged killer, whom they described as a very dangerous individual. If this is the guy, the one article that I did read, there was an RAPE involved, and he was getting retribution for his friend or girlfriend that had gotten RAPED. So there are reasons behind it. These are animals. And I'm guessing if there are 4 young women who live at this house and Harold Weeks owns it, in Brian Albert's yearbook, he thanks Nicole. So he knew her. Lawrence Sullivan, 21, was arrested on the platform of the train station in Franklin with clean clothes, photo albums, and $160 in his backpack. Police said he was trying to flee. Mr. Sullivan claimed he was on his way to turn himself in. He pled no contest yesterday in Wrentham District Court to charges of assault and battery with a dangerous weapon and malicious destruction of motor vehicles. And where did they get this charge? They haven't mentioned anything about a car. malicious destruction of a motor vehicle. Someone got hit by a car. They didn't say who was driving it. Prosecutors, said Mr. Sullivan took a lead. Oh, here's the answer. Mr. Sullivan took a lead pipe to the windshield of several cars at the no-folk party, but they said it was John Tag, a California native also living in Bellingham, who unalived Jason Linsky, a Foxboro party guest found stabbed as many as 9 times in the chest and back. See, this is a crime of passion. I would say that this is about that RAPE. Authorities said he's 6'3", about 175 pounds, with tattoos reading "Stone White Boy" on his neck and "White Power" on his stomach. The assistant district attorney, John Burtwell, described him as a very dangerous individual. Invoke fear. I don't know if this is him, but that's a crime of, I'm guessing. This is a crime of passion. I didn't go to cop camp. I just have common sense. Witnesses to the crime say 6 young men with several tattoos arrived at the party uninvited at about midnight on Saturday and were asked to leave. An hour later, they returned with 9 friends armed with baseball bats, chains, lead pipes, and knives and attacked the 15 remaining partygoers. Witnesses said that the melee early Sunday did not appear to be racially motivated. The lone Black guest was inside the house to sleep. 5 other guests were wounded. Who? Michael Powers of Attleboro was released from Mass Gen in Boston yesterday. Powers was stabbed at the party in his chest and abdomen and was treated for lung and liver damage. Oh, this is the party's host, Brian McLaughlin, 24, remains in stable condition at Boston Medical Center with several stab wounds to the back and chest. Well, so to me, this is very clearly the same house. And that is an assumption because they haven't mentioned it. They're like only giving a quarter of the details. But from the description of Fat Tom and the quick sale to Brian Albert a year later, on April 13th back to our timeline, of 2005, a new $100,000 loan from Fleet National Bank was made to Brian Albert. In July of 2008, he refinanced, or there was an equity transfer recorded. Bank of America had been involved. In 2010, Brian Albert transfers $420,000 to Bernard, Daddy, noted as a high-value intra-family equity shield. 2013, Bernard and Mary transferred it to Timothy Albert. OCWEN Financial is also listed. 2016, Timmy received a new loan from Citizens Bank. 2017, there was an equity transfer grant deed. MCWEN is involved again. March of 18, there's a $40,000 loan from Harbor One Bank to Timmy Albert. 2019, transfer from Timmy Albert to Timothy J. and Bernard Albert, $0 value, labeled family transfer refinance. United Wholesale Mortgage was involved. Associated family members, Albert family members include Brian, Timothy, Bernard, Kevin, Marianne, Keith, Nicole. Jenny McCabe is said to have resided at the address for over 20 years. It is located directly across from the Canton Police Station. It's a ritual seal site and strategic ritual node. That's on the spiritual side. We'll get into it. It's adjacent to the First Parish Unitarian Church, so it's spiritually compromised. In 2025, there was an estimated value of $832,259 $832,259 and a property tax of $6,921. There's a 323% appreciation rate, and that has been flagged as excessive. If you would like to look at pictures with me, I would like to. This is all Turtle Boy. Thank you for the research. This is Turtle Boy wrote this back on May 1st of 23. Albert family pool mysteriously filled up and buried. The house was previously owned by Brian Albert, but given to his parents and his brother. Turtle Boy wrote a well-researched article. I highly recommend going and looking at it. I can read it. The house located at 1473 Washington Street in Canton is located directly across the street from the Canton Police Station and is believed to be inhabited by Timmy Albert, the brother of Brian Albert, and possibly his parents, Bernard and Marianne. This is Tim. This is Brian. This is Chicken Parm. Wait, Chicken Parm Charlie. This is Chris. This is Bernie. This is Kevin. And Turtle Boy doesn't know who these are. Brian and Nicole bought the house before trading it to the Albert parent. Trading? Oh, I must have missed something. Bought the house before trading it to the Albert parents and Tim for the house at 34 Fairview. I should make a note of that. I have a whole outline for the 34 Fairview transactions as well. Okay, here are the quitclaim deeds. Here's the information. We just went through this. Tim was the one that posted. I stand with my family. Don't F with them. I won't hesitate to make you the most miserable person. Shortly after, Karen Reed's attorneys accused his family members in court of covering up the murder. Which one? Because right now I'm looking at two. And I'm not going to say allegedly because Fat Tom just explained it for us, but they had a pool in their backyard. Here's a picture of the pool. Here are the photographs we had taken outside of that address today. No pool. I'm sure you guys have all seen this. I'm more curious about what happened. Where did the party happen? I mean, where did this unaliving happen? Did they build the pool? Like, I wonder if they're trying to hide the original sin. This is becoming Washington Street's original sin. I wonder if they're hiding something older than whatever else weird criminal. I don't know what these kids are like, and that's okay. They needed a lot of love when they were growing up and they didn't get it. And so Turtle Boy has some more pictures, and he's explaining that whatever they needed to do back here, they had to remove the fence. I'm curious, though, about the original sin. This 1996 situation that there's a man on serving life who claims he's innocent. And coming out of this courthouse, I can't wait till they clean it up. You will notice the pool's been completely filled in and there's new grass that has been planted. It's not clear when this happened, but it looks like they took the fence apart in order to get large equipment and vehicles into the backyard. Apparently, the double gate wasn't wide enough for whatever they needed. I don't know, but I wonder if this has to do with something, this party. I wonder if there was a pool there when they bought it. Like, where did this person get stabbed? Here's 1475. It's 1473, but the house and ladder were there, and possibly the green tarp covering the pool. This appears to have been a pool at the residence. There appears to have been a pool. It's still on Google Earth. In April of 2022, the Albert family was never suspected of anything nefarious. Well, if I was at that party or I knew friends that were at that party, I want to know who all these guys are that are showing up uninvited to parties. Who brings a knife to a house party? What does this prove? Nothing. But it does remind you of they had a healthy German shepherd named Chloe suddenly disappear, rehomed, and is believed to contain evidence that she chewed on John O'Keefe's arm. Decided to have their entire basement flooring removed after it was alleged that John O'Keefe had been thrown down the stairs to the basement, and they sold their home of over 50 years for $50,000 less. That's the project I was working on. I just remembered. Wait until you see where this money goes. It's unbelievable. I don't even have it organized enough to show you, but they sold it for less than $50,000, less than asking, less than a month ago. Okay. Why did the Albert family suddenly decide to fill in their functional and often used pool with a diving board with fill and sod that doesn't match the rest of the backyard? Maybe there's a perfectly reasonable explanation for this. Kids appear to live in this house and there's still a swing set. But maybe these are the types of kids who don't like living in a house with a nice pool in the backyard. Maybe they wanted to start a garden. Well, that's kind of fun. Surely they could surely yes, they could, but brazen enough to bury something nefarious on a busy street across from the police station and leave the fence wide open for anyone to see into their backyard. We should do a reading. Okay, so in conclusion, that's the story of Fat Tom, who was a nobody until he mentioned that his most traumatizing police call was a house in a residential area on Washington Street that is right across from what became the brand new Canton police station. That's what started this whole thing. Then I want to do a reading on the house. So I'm going to come back. I'll be right back. I'm just going to post this because I wanted to explain why we're going into this and show you guys this stuff. If you would like, I will make all of this stuff available. I have the background checks. I use Ben Verified. It's always worked for me. There are plenty of companies. Anyone can do it. Please. Everyone has the ability. And with that, I will love you and leave you. Thank you so much for coming. It is wonderful to see you, and I love you, and I'll see you later. Bye.